Well, hello, everybody, and welcome into the Shelby County High School Football Pregame Show live on location tonight for a big night of high school football action. Some great region games taking place tonight. We've got a few county battles as well. One of them right here at Chelsea High School, our game of the week, as the Chelsea Hornets welcome the Spain Park Jaguars to town. Going to be a great game out here at this one alongside Tyler Rayleigh, who's out at Thompson High School tonight. Going to be a big one for the Warriors as well against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa in region play. So great opportunity for them there at home on their home field tonight ahead of that big showdown next week with the Hoover Buccaneers. We are Andrew-less right now, but he hopes to join us here in a few minutes. A wreck causing him to be a little bit delayed, but hope to get him in on the action tonight as well from out on the hill. I guess they're both technically on a hilltop when you look at Pelham and Helena. But a little different hill this year. Last year at Helena, this year at Pelham. Huge rivalry showdown between the Pelham Panthers and Helena Huskies. But, Tyler, let's jump in. We got a big week. We got a lot of games to talk about. And you look in the AISA and ACSC, and that's where we're going to start this week's show. And we've got three big matchups. Cornerstone hitting the road to take on Escambia. It's a matchup of 6-0s, undefeated teams there in an 8-man AISA play. Both teams battling for a state championship this year. At the end of the season, likely as well. Coosa Valley and Evangel Montgomery in what should be a good game. And then the Evangel Lightning right here out of Shelby County taking on Southern Christian. So, Tyler, let's go through these games real quick. Let's start in the ACSC with the Evangel Lightning taking on Southern. This is an 8-0 Southern Christian team. Evangel, though, has started to play some of their best football of the season. They're 3-3 overall right now, and typically they would be the favorite in the ACSC. But right now we've got a couple of teams here that are going to be battling for supremacy. The winner of this one kind of in the driver's seat to get the top spot there in the ACSC going into the postseason.
Yeah, it is a weird situation right now because we don't often see Evangel in this kind of position. I think it's a situation where they're going to have to come out firing on all cylinders, like you said, against their undefeated opponents, their counterparts. Man, and I just think when you look at this Evangel team, can their team just step up to the challenge against a tough opponent? And they really haven't this year. When you look at the tough caliber they've played, especially near the beginning of the season, and I kind of think that's what cost them tonight. Unfortunately for Evangel, it might be a tough night, but I do believe they can improve and make this a closer game than we might have thought at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I told Andrew earlier this week, I just have a sneaky suspicion that Evangel's going to come out and play their best game of the season. They know what this game means. Taking on an 8-0 undefeated team, it's normally Evangel that's in this situation on that side of the matchup. But I think they come out with something to prove tonight. They're starting to get healthy, play some of their best football. I think Lightning going to walk away with a win in that one, actually. I really think that's going to be a great game there between those two teams. A lot of people thought Southern would be the team in the ACSC this year, so we'll see what happens at the end of the night there. But a great opportunity for both of those teams when you look at that matchup in the ACSC. Well, we got two AISA games as well. We start with Coosa Valley hitting the road to take on Evangel Montgomery. The Rebels, they pick up a 68-0 shutout victory last week for the second head-to-head win of the season, but they've got 3 overall with a forfeit win earlier in the season, 3-3 on the season, whereas Evangel Montgomery is 4-3. I think these two teams very even, Tyler. What do you think about this matchup?
I think it's a battle where Coosa Valley really has to come out and prove themselves. Against the tough opponents this year, you've really seen them kind of struggle to put up points on the scoreboard. And I think that's where Evangel Montgomery is kind of has the advantage tonight. That they've proven that they can fight and put themselves in the game, whereas Coosa Valley, I just haven't seen much this year to prove otherwise, that they can come out and make themselves known, get in the lead. That's why I think Evangel comes out and wins a very close game, but it's just going to be hard for Coosa Valley to fight with a team who has proven that they can come out on top in adversity.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a tighter game than it would have been last year for sure. I think it's actually going to be a pretty close contest throughout, and Coosa Valley is going to have a chance to win this one. But I think just as far as the program goes, Evangel Montgomery just a little bit further along than where Coosa Valley's at right now, despite how improved Coosa Valley is. And no matter what happens in this one, that program's heading in a good direction with what they've shown on the field this year. I think a tight game, but I also think Evangel Montgomery walks away the winner in that one. Cornerstone at Escambia is the battle of undefeateds, both 6-0 on the season, both scoring a lot of points, both giving up very few points. Should be an incredible battle here between these two. Tyler, Cornerstone on a 20-game win streak right now, 29-1 since the 2023 season in their last 30 games. So this is a Cornerstone team that has not lost a lot of football games in the last 3 seasons. Is tonight a night where that 20-game win streak comes to an end?
I think that's the big question mark, and I think when you look at this Cornerstone team, although they might have played a couple of close games in the past, they really haven't given me any reason to doubt them. They've always stepped up to the challenge. But the thing you look at in this game, Alec, is that Cornerstone is giving up 4 points in this game on per average on the season. I think that's where
21.2 points per game that Cornerstone's giving up. Escambia giving up 12. Yeah. So that's a pretty big difference defensively.
I think when you look at this game, especially because Escambia is coming off a game where I believe they scored 74 points. And, that's a mark you kind of have your eyeballs on there if you are Cornerstone. But like I said, they have not given me any reason to believe that they are going to waver in this situation. I think they've had plenty of challenges, and they're very battle-tested. That's where Cornerstone comes out on top. Give me the Chargers to keep this undefeated streak going.
Yeah, that's the thing that I said earlier in the week, too. Before going the other direction in this game. But I think that's the biggest thing is somebody's kind of got to prove that they can knock off Cornerstone with what they've been able to do the last couple of years since transitioning to 8-man play. But this Escambia team is next level. It's their first year in this 8-man level, so they're used to playing 11-man football, and I think that's the benefit that they've had this season, and it's shown so far. They're scoring, I already said, about 10, giving up about 10 less points per game than Cornerstone is defensively, but also scoring about 11 more points per game on the offensive side.
The one thing I did want to mention there is especially Escambia, although they are giving up 10 less points, they're coming off a game. Like I said, they scored 74 points, but in that same game, they gave up 42.
Yeah. Yep.
So you look at this game. Is their defense on a little bit of a cold streak? I don't know. But Cornerstone, this is your opportunity to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's you just nailed it there. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. These are two really good offenses. Their defenses have played well, but they've also been susceptible at times, and especially recently. So I think you get a high-scoring game. The way Escambia is playing this year, I think the win streak comes to an end. I don't know where everybody else went across the staff this week. I know Andrew went opposite of that. Sounds like you did. So I may be out on an island with that one, which should give Cornerstone all the momentum they need to go into that one. But I think it's going to be a great battle between those two. Kind of regular season. When you look at 8-man play, you look at the AISA, it doesn't get much more exciting than what you're going to see in that battle between Cornerstone and Escambia. Well, let's jump into the AHSAA now. We got Vincent in a big matchup against Aliceville tonight. This is an important week for the Vincent Yellow Jackets, Tyler. Coming off a 30-12 loss to Tuscaloosa Academy. They started slow, and that was the big difference maker in that game a week ago. Going to have to start faster this week against Aliceville. This is an Aliceville team that, despite some struggles this season, they've been in some really tight football games against some good teams. Lost by 7 to Tuscaloosa Academy, lost by 8 to Isabella. I just told you the Vincent Tuscaloosa Academy score 30-12, 18 points difference there. Tuscaloosa Academy, Aliceville, a 7-point game. So this is a team against the two best teams in this region in Tuscaloosa Academy and Isabella that Aliceville's been able to compete with. So Vincent's going to have to be on their A game coming off of that loss if they want to bounce back this week. Tyler, do you ultimately think that they have what it takes to rebound from last week's loss and take on this Aliceville team, pick up a win tonight?
Well, I think the one thing we mentioned last week, Alec, was that the key to that Vincent Tuscaloosa Academy game, as Landon Archer said, was who was going to come out and start fast. And like you said, Vincent did not. And that's really what ultimately cost them. And I think that after that, that season opening loss they took to Winterboro, and now after this Tuscaloosa Academy game, that's a wake-up call for this Vincent team. I think Coach Weatherford's mad. I think these players are mad. And I think they're going to go out there against an Aliceville team who scored 12 points each of the last 2 games and kind of dominate the offensive end. And that's big because Vincent has a game against Isabella next week. So it it is a point that they have to make tonight to go and win at home against Aliceville, especially before taking the road next week to play Isabella.
Yeah, that's the big thing is this 3-week stretch is such an important stretch for them. If they can win this week, win next week, going to get the 2 seed out of this region most likely. But if they lose this one, lose next week, they're just battling for their playoff lives at that point. Best they're going to do at that point is likely the 4 seed. So this is a big week. You got to be ready. You got to bounce back. Got to rebound in a game like this. But you nailed it. It's the offensive output that we've seen from Aliceville the last couple of weeks. 12 in the last 2 games, 22 or less in 3 of the last 4. And 4 of the last 5. 3 in a row they've scored 22 or less, and then 4 of the last 5 as well. So their offense struggling. Vincent's strong suit this year has been the defensive side. I think they're going to come out giving up 17.8 points per game. I think that defense plays well tonight and is able to go on and pick up a win there for Vincent. But that's going to be a tight game. It's going to be a defensive slugfest, I think. So Vincent's going to have to be ready to make some offensive plays in the second half if they want to be able to win that one. Should be a lot of fun. Follow along for updates on that one throughout the night. Should be a good one there between Vincent and Aliceville. Another fun game that we're going to talk about, a traditional rivalry matchup right here in the county, and that's Shelby County taking on Montevallo tonight. 2 storied programs, long traditions there, and this rivalry battle is always a lot of fun between these two. But right now at this point in the season, both of them kind of sitting in different situations in how this season has gone. Even though Shelby County's in a little bit of a rut right now, looks to be the better team with what we've seen from them so far throughout the season. Tyler, before we talk about this one, we got to tell you about Montevallo Main Street, proud sponsors of the Montevallo Bulldogs during this year's Shelby County football show and pregame show. Whether it's Friday night lights or a quiet Saturday stroll, there's always something special happening on Montevallo Main Street. From unique shops and local dining to community traditions and small town charm, it's the kind of place where neighbors gather and Bulldog pride runs deep. Make downtown part of your routine before the game, after the game, and all year long. They got those great fall events coming up as well. Art Stalk happening here shortly later on this month, October 25th. And then you've also on November 1st got the Day of the Dead Festival. So get down to Montevallo, beautiful town, beautiful chance to see some of the great parks and everything they've got going on Main Street there as well. And Tyler, I know you're looking forward to some Bulldog pride tomorrow down there on the plains. I got to get you riled up a little bit there.
No, you don't.
So let's jump into this one between Montevallo and Shelby County. Rivalry showdown. Wildcats sitting at 3-4 right now, but they've lost 3 in a row. Meanwhile, this is a Montevallo team that's 1-5. They've lost 5 straight, hadn't won since their season opener. So both on losing streaks right now, but Shelby County coming off that 29-27 loss to Demopolis actually showed me a lot in a loss last week, whereas Montevallo's just continued to struggle on both sides of the ball. Their offense struggling, defense struggling. What does this matchup look like in your eyes?
It just looks like a Shelby County win, feels like. I think Shelby County finally got a little bit of that confidence back against Demopolis in that 2-point loss, whereas Montevallo, it's just been much of the same. You go down there on the road, you lose to Selma, and that's not a good loss by any stretch of the imagination right now. And it just seems like Shelby County's still got a little bit of energy left in them. They've still got the hope to push for a playoff spot, and I think that's what's going to propel them as they get into do-or-die time here in the last few weeks.
Yeah, all you got to look at here is Montevallo scoring 6.2 points per game. Shelby County's defense is still really good this year. They're giving up just 26.3. That's a little high, but it's still a good number compared to where this defense was 2 years ago, when they were giving up north of 35 points a game. So this defense of Shelby County has been so improved the last 2 years, playing great football this year. Montevallo scored 14 or less in every game, 7 or less in 4 of 6 this season. So that's 6.2 points per game against the Shelby County defense. Not going to be enough for the Bulldogs tonight. They continue to take strides, hopefully get some improvements there. But Shelby County right now vying for one of those top 3 spots in this region. They need a big win. They need some confidence after that 3-game losing streak. I think they get that back this week. Expect the Wildcats to win a big game there on the road in a rivalry battle with Montevallo. Now we transition to the Briarwood Lions. One of our co-workers, our staff writers, Daniel Locke, just say this, it may be Pastor Locke tonight for both of the locker rooms with some pregame speeches. So he's wearing many hats tonight, but also going to be out there covering that one. So follow along for updates. But a big one for Briarwood as they hit the road to take on John Carroll tonight. Before we talk about this game, we got to tell you about 3D Air Services, who proudly sponsors the Briarwood Lions and Pelham Panthers on this year's show. And since 2005, 3D Air Services has proudly called Shelby County home. They're more than just your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters. From keeping your home comfortable year-round to sponsoring local schools and athletic programs, they're committed to making a difference in our community. Just ask your neighbor. Chances are they've already been there. As proud sponsors of the Briarwood Lions, 3D Air believes in the power of teamwork, dedication, and community spirit, values they carry with them in every job they do. 3D Air Services, your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable one home at a time. And speaking of comfortable, my goodness, it feels great out here. Finally got some fall weather. Perfect night for some great football. Briarwood John Carroll, not sure how great the game's going to be, but both of these teams have shown some struggles at times this year. John Carroll, you may look at the record book and say 2-5. They don't have a chance against the Briarwood team, but Briarwood's been so inconsistent. Anything can happen with this Lions team. The defense should have been good enough to keep them in every game. That's kind of gone the opposite direction, whereas the offense was the big question mark early in the season, and that's gone the opposite direction. Now they're the best part of the team. So what gives, Tyler? What do we see from Briarwood tonight? Does their defense play well enough to let the offense pull away in this one, or does this end up being a close game with John Carroll?
I think Briarwood is in a position where they're also in a do-or-die moment, right? You look at the schedule, they lost their first 2 games of the season, then won the next 3, then have lost their last 2. So I think when you're Coach Forrester's squad, you look at this game, and this is a chance for your offense to thrive against a John Carroll team who historically has not been good on the defensive end. And I think when you see this John Carroll team, they're coming off a bad loss to Winona. And so I think this is an opportunity for Briarwood, especially considering that they had 2 100-yard receiving games last week, that they can come out and make a statement here tonight against John Carroll in an environment where it could be rowdy, as we learned that John Carroll is opening up the new renovations to their stadium tonight. So a big night over there for John Carroll, but I think Briarwood spoils it and pulls out a win because their team comes together and makes a complete performance.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Here comes the band.
Oh, no.
The drums are about to start rolling. I just mean this high school football Friday night right now. Friday night lights are here. So hopefully everybody will still be able to hear me as I go through here in a minute. But just adds to the ambiance of the beautiful night that we've got out here for some great high school football. But yeah, Tyler, I mean, the big thing here is Briarwood's defense has got to play better. This is where they've been so traditionally strong over the years, but they've given up north of 20 in 4 straight and 5 of 7 this year. They got to be better on defense. This is the perfect opportunity because offensively, these two teams right around the same this year. Briarwood 21.1 points per game. John Carroll actually a point more on the dot per game than Briarwood is scoring. So Briarwood's offense, while they've improved and are looking much better, a lot of that stat goes back to early in the season. But the offense has improved. Defense has got to match them now. They've got to give that same effort. I think that'll be the big focus tonight is this Briarwood defense taking advantage of a John Carroll offense that has struggled to score points at times. So we'll see if that's something that we can get out of Briarwood tonight, giving up just 24 points per game. Meanwhile, John Carroll's giving up 34, so they're giving up 10 more points. That's the most lopsided spot in this matchup. So I do think Briarwood's defense actually capitalizes and puts together a big performance tonight. I'm going to let Andrew Simonson here on the show in just a second. We're going to jump to the Calera-Chilton County game, though, as we do that. And, Tyler, I'm going to get your breakdown on that one here in just a second as we bring Andrew into the stage live from – There he is, live from the big game there, the rivalry matchup with Pelham and Helena. And, Andrew, only one game away from that big matchup out there. We've made it to the Calera-Chilton County game, and this is a huge opportunity for the Calera Eagles tonight as they end that 8-game losing streak last week in a big win, 43-29 over Brookwood, a wild game. They come back and win that football game. So this is a Calera team that's now got some confidence. Chilton County, meanwhile, 1-5 on the season, 1-6 on the season, struggling on both sides of the ball. This feels like a great chance for Calera to get a 2-game winning streak going, coming off of that 8-game losing streak. So, Andrew, since we hadn't heard from you tonight on the show, let's jump to you first when we look at this Calera-Chilton County matchup. What's the big difference maker? Who walks away as the winner?
I think the biggest key in this one is going to be if Calera's offense continues what it was able to do last week. I think there was a lot of good positives that were able to happen with this Calera offense, especially on the ground between what Jordan Henderson and Jordan Ford were able to get going there. So if they're able to get going against this Chilton County front, I think they'll be able to do well in that regard. But I think everybody's kind of looking to see if this Calera defense can start stringing together some good performances together, because there's opportunities like here and against Stanhope Belmore where they're going to be able to get some potential traction within that. I'd even argue the Helena game as well, given the state of Helena's offense, where if they are able to have a good defensive showing and then have the offense to back it up, they could have a really good chance in all of those games. So I look at tonight as a big confidence booster. You got that win under your belt. You got the monkey off your back. Now it's time to go out and start stringing some stuff together. I think Calera gets it done. I think I've been liking how they progressed over the last few weeks, and this team has a lot of heart in it.
Yeah, I mean, Calera's offense has been improved, but, I mean, the fact that they're scoring 13 more points per game than Chilton County this year says all you need to know right there. 23.8 points per game. Chilton County scoring 10 points per game. That offense struggling. That said, Calera's defense has been about as bad. So what you just mentioned, Andrew, is going to be a huge point in this game. That Calera defense is going to have to come out and play some good football tonight, giving up 36.3 points per game. So even as bad as Chilton County's been on the offensive side, you got to think they're going to score points in this football game. Tyler, I think that Calera's offense is so much further ahead of Chilton County, though, who's also struggled a little bit defensively. I think that gives them the edge to kind of pull away in this matchup. Is that something you agree on, or do you think this is going to be a tight battle?
I think for Calera, they look so drastically different now compared to the very beginning of the season. And so, you know, at times it feels like, and this is, I smile at this because it is true, at times Calera's offenses look like world beaters out there. And they've come out, fought, they have the determination. Now it's just they've executed, and they found a way to make it close, and then they finally won last week. I do think this is where the offense just outshines Chilton County as a whole, and that's how they win this game. Calera will win back-to-back, and they're going to get some real positivity here under Scott Riles.
Yeah, the only way they lose this game is if the defense really comes out and just lays an egg in this one. That Calera defense has been so inconsistent, and I think that's the big thing for them. If they can come out and play some good football tonight on the defensive side, they should be able to win this game comfortably with how well this offense is finally starting to mold and gel and fit together down there at Calera. So I think they win the game regardless because Chilton County's offense has been that bad, but that defense is going to have to play well. They do that, got a chance for a comfortable win. So good opportunity for the Calera Eagles to gain 2 consecutive wins coming off that 8-game losing streak. This is a team that's heading in the right direction, still young, still got a lot of growing to do. If they can keep some players around, I think they got the right guy in place there in Scott Riles and what that program can do. Well, Andrew, that takes us to your game. You nailed it just in the nick of time, coming off of all that traffic, the wrecks, and the typical Friday afternoon traffic. Everybody trying to get out to enjoy this beautiful Friday night that we've got. And it's Pelham and Helena in a huge battle, so big that we've got 2 sponsors to tell you about for this one. And we start with 3D Air Services. You just heard me talk about them a minute ago. Finally starting to get that hint of cool air out there for you. Winter's going to be here before you know it. You're going to have to crank that heat on. 3D Air Services is going to come take care of all of your HVAC needs. They're going to help you out throughout the year, so make sure you join them. 3D Air Services, your trusted neighbor, keeping Shelby County comfortable, one home at a time. And then Oak Mountain Hearing, proudly sponsoring the Helena Huskies on this year's show. Don't let hearing loss bench you this season. At Oak Mountain Hearing, we help you stay in the game so you don't miss a single play. Whether you need help with hearing aids, hearing loss, or tinnitus, Oak Mountain Hearing is here to help. Now open in Pelham. Call 205-728-1690 to set up your consultation. Don't let hearing issues affect your well-being. Hear every word effortlessly with Oak Mountain Hearing, 205-728-1690 or oakmountainhearing.com. Andrew, you're there. It's a big showdown. Helena has struggled this year. Pelham has drastically improved, specifically on that defensive side. They've also got weapons on the offensive side. what gives in this matchup? Because Helena seems to be a team that can compete in a game like this. They've got the weapons, the tools to make it happen. It just hasn't come together this year on either side of the ball. So can they figure it out for this big rivalry game that they're definitely going to be up for? Or is Pelham going to bounce back from that 42-7 loss to Spain Park last week and look more like the team we saw in that 3-game win streak?
It's really hard. I think that Pelham enters this matchup as the better team just because of what we've seen throughout the season from them. I really enjoy this offense, and I'm excited to see it in person for the first time, just because of the diversity of weapons that they have and the absolute speed and athleticism that they possess as a whole. The defense overall has had its moments of brilliance, but there have also been times where it struggled a little bit as well, which could potentially open up opportunities for Helena to strike. But this is a Helena offense that has not been very good these last few weeks. They had a golden opportunity this past week against Benjamin Russell, where the defense did its job, kept a high-powered offense to just 28 points, and just could not get anything going. That's been the theme of the last few weeks for this Helena team, is just not being able to engage the offense, and in particular the pass game and what the offense is looking to do. So if Helena comes out, gets a strong start on offense, I think all bets are off in this matchup. Whoever gets the best start within this matchup, I think, is going to be able to carry through to the end, just because of how we've seen these teams play overall. But I do believe that this matchup is going to come down to who plays the best football in the beginning of this matchup, and it's going to be an absolute dogfight. Whoever has the biggest amount of toughness is going to win this game, and I do think that Pelham has to step up in that regard.
I didn't know if he was going to try to play the Kirk Herbstreit game. I'm calling the game, not making the pick tonight. But yeah, I tend to agree. Go ahead, Andrew. I
already made my pick. Everybody already knows my pick. But it could honestly just as easily go the other way. It's a rivalry game. It's Helena Pelham. Obviously Helena's got the better of this matchup within the last few years, but these matchups have been so close overall. It's really hard to call. It could be anybody's game.
Well, we put Tyler on blast last week for his Oak Mountain Hoover prediction, so we won't put anybody on blast this week. But Tyler, I do turn to you in this matchup, Pelham and Helena. It's a game where Helena is normally a team that wants to run the football, be physical, and play good defense. That hadn't worked this year. Do they have an answer tonight for this Pelham team that's shown some promise on both sides of the ball this year?
Well, I think the motivator for Pelham right now is that they are desperately fighting to get back in the number 2 seed in the region and host a playoff game. And this team, man, although it's Ross Newton's first year at the helm, this program, this Pelham team knows 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many straight matches they've lost to Helena. That's how many. And this is a time for Pelham where you have the momentum. This is your time to showcase what you've done this season. And how to do it is the fact that they take this offense and take it to new levels. It is time for Pelham to make their mark. And I think it's the Helena team that is weakened. This is the prime moment, right? Helena's down, Pelham's up. I think Pelham's offense against a weaker Helena defense who has struggled in this road stretch is what's going to win this game. It is going to be very close because it's rivalry week and anything can happen. But Pelham will break the streak tonight, and I think that's what's going to happen there.
It comes to an end tonight. The losing streak comes to an end. The Pelham Panthers are going to win this football game. They're the better team this year. The only way they lose is if they go out and they're thinking about the last 4 years in a negative fashion. I think they're thinking about it in a positive fashion. They want to come out and put that in the history books and flip the page to a new chapter. And that's what Ross Newton has done this entire season. It's a new chapter for Pelham High School football. The Panthers are going to come out ready to roll in this matchup. They're just playing better and more consistent football. And last week, you look at the 42-7 game. I've mentioned it a few times throughout the week. That was a game in which in the first half, that could have been a much closer contest going into the halftime break. It was 2 drives that made the difference with Pelham in a 1-score game against Spain Park. They could not convert a couple of plays. They turned the ball over on downs. They fumbled the ball deep in Spain Park territory. Both of those looked like they were going to end in points. You give it to Spain Park, they go back and score. That game becomes lopsided at that point, and they lose all confidence. So that's what you have to be careful of. You got to come out, protect the football, get first downs, and start fast and strong. We all know if Pelham can do that, Helena struggles to start games fast. That's been their kryptonite the last several years. They can battle back. I think they will battle back if that happens tonight. It's a rivalry game. But right now, everything points to Pelham winning this football game. This is a Helena team scoring just 17.2 points per game. They're giving up close to 30, which just isn't a Helena defensive statistic. So they're just not there right now. This is the kind of week where they could put it together, but I've seen it from Pelham this season. I think they come out, that defense giving up 22.5 per game this year, so improved. I think they play a good defensive game tonight. And I think fundamentally on the offensive side with the key playmakers they have this year, they're going to come out with a smart game plan in this matchup. I think Pelham wins this one. A huge opportunity for Ross Newton in year one. It's kind of like the Alabama-Auburn rivalry. You're judged on that rivalry battle and how you do as a head coach. This is a chance for Ross Newton to really start strong here in this rivalry battle. Well, let's go on to the 7A classification now before we jump back here to Chelsea for our game of the week. But Thompson Hillcrest, brought to you by Wayne's Pest Control. While the Thompson Warriors are playing defense against their opponent this year, Wayne's Pest Control is playing defense for your home. This football season, don't let mosquitoes, fleas, or ticks sideline your family's outdoor fun. Wayne's environmentally safe mosquito treatments will keep your yard clear, and their affordable Mosquito Plus program will also eliminate fleas and ticks. Protect your family and pets today and take the bite out of the great outdoors. For quality of service and peace of mind, trust Wayne's Pest Control. Call 866-WAYNES1 or visit callwaynes.com to learn more. Tyler, you're out there at this one. Thompson Hillcrest. It's a big week for the Thompson Warriors to stay focused, win this one. It comes down to next week. You get the region championship if you beat Hoover next week. So just staying in the moment, focused on this matchup against the Hillcrest team that is improved this year, but Thompson looks to be the better team. So if they have that focus, feels like they should be able to walk away the winner.
The MO this week for Thompson is to be able to come out there and get up for this game, right? I talked to Mark Freeman before tonight's show, and what he said, that stuck out to me was that in those two games that they lost against, out on the road at Grayson, and then they lost to Clay Chalkball on that Thursday night a couple weeks ago, was that it just felt weird. They had a bad week of practice. They come out there, they make elementary mistakes, and they lose that game. Now coming home again against a win against Hewitt Trustful last week, who was the number one team in the state in Class 7A, they've really got to get up for this game, because you've got a game against Hoover that's looming next week at the Met, a game that's given them struggles in the regular season. This seems like a trap game. I'm just going to put it straight out there. But I think for Thompson, they know what's about to happen if they don't get this thing rolling. And I think they're fine, but I think they really got to get up and execute this game, because this is a Hillcrest team who's shown that they can compete with the best in 7A. This is the best they've looked in a while. And I think, but Thompson hopefully gets the better of them here in the final night of games at Warriors Stadium for the regular season. Homecoming, it's a big night for Thompson. That's what's going to push them to the win, and I think they come out there, play ball, and play their brand.
Yeah, I think Thompson's actually going to win this one pretty comfortably tonight. I think they've had, from what it sounds like you're saying and what I kind of expected after that Hewitt Trustville win, I thought they would be locked in right now because they know what's ahead. Andrew, is that kind of the feeling you get, that Thompson's going to kind of come out focused, locked in this game? It's a Hillcrest team that is improved. They're playing great football this year, sitting at 5-2, 2-2 in the region. They win this, still an outside chance they could win a region championship this year too. They've played some really good teams, and they competed in those games. They're playing really good offensive football. Can they pull off the upset tonight against the Thompson Warriors?
It's really hard for me to see a path for that, just because Hillcrest's defense has been so poor throughout the year. Yes, it's an incredible Hillcrest team, and they probably deserve to be in that top 10 conversation and would be a very worthy playoff team coming out of Class 7A Region 3 because of the offense that they've built this year and what they've shown on that end of the ball. But defensively, there's a unit that's struggled largely this year. Gave up 21 points to Tuscaloosa County last week in the rivalry battle. So overall, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Thompson to come out and establish its own brand of football, which lately has been just like we've seen in the past couple of years. Air it out and see what happens. Run game has not quite been there, but I don't think this is going to be one of those games where they need to do that. If they go out and they just play good, focused football on the defensive side, I think they're going to have no problems in this one.
Yeah, I agree. And they're giving up 14 less points per game. They've battle-tested. They played some of the best teams in the state, in the country. I think that benefits them in a game like this. But I think Hillcrest comes out, maybe makes it a little bit close in the first half, like we've seen a couple of times this season. But ultimately, I think this Thompson offense is going to just start rolling. I think they've got it figured out. I think they're going to play some good football tonight. I think they win this one comfortably and going away, to be honest with you. It could be a close game if Hillcrest comes out and slows it down a little bit, takes it into the half, kind of like Vestavia did in a tight one-possession game. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Thompson's going to come out and put the pedal to the metal from the start in this one. I expect a big night from the Warriors in that one. Well, that brings us to our game of the week right here at Chelsea High School as the Hornets welcome the Spain Park Jaguars. And this is a big, big matchup between these two teams. It looks like Spain Park's the better team on paper, but this Chelsea team quietly sitting at 5-1 right now, and both 2-1 in region play. So this is a huge game with region standing implications on the line for where these teams are battling, not only for playoff seeding, but how high they're going to finish in that seeding at the end of the year. Technically still battling for a region championship and those possibilities out there as well. But Benjamin Russell looks like a team that's going to be able to lock that up and pick that region title up this year. But you never know. So this is a big game, battling really for what feels like one of those top two spots. Loser going to be in that 3-4 position. So it's a huge matchup when you look at it on paper. Both of them scoring right about 34 points per game and both giving up right around 18 points per game. So on paper, exactly the same, and record-wise, right around the same position. So what gives in this one? Andrew, I start with you.
What I'm really most concerned about is Chelsea's pass defense in this one, because we've seen over the last few weeks, Brock Bradley has really honed in and locked in to his accuracy game and been able to find a plethora of receivers. Just last week, you had 3 guys, and Derek Price, Mason McClure, and Kenarigo all go for over 70 yards. And on any given night, he's going to get the ball out to all of them, and they're all going to have opportunities to make plays, and they've all done it in various and incredible ways. So if Chelsea's able to limit big plays on that side, I think they're going to have a shot overall. But in addition to that, they're going to have to establish the run, and not just establish the run, dominate with the run as well, get to the second level. And that's something that we saw them struggle in this matchup last season. They weren't even really able to get to the first level with Chase Malone, much less the second, to where he's consistently getting the first down that he and Morgan Barnes have done throughout this season. I do like this Chelsea team overall, and they have the weapons to where if they play to their strengths, they can give Spain Park a very difficult time. But I think the weaknesses overall are just areas that Spain Park has been known to exploit, and we're probably going to see that tonight.
It goes back to last year when it looked like it should be a close game, battling for the top spot in the region a year ago, and then Spain Park came out and won handily in this matchup. The big thing I look at, though, Tyler, as I go to you, both defenses, which have been inconsistent at times, have really been playing good football the last couple of weeks. Spain Park, they've given up a combined 4 in the last 2 games. Chelsea's defense the last 2 weeks, a combined 7 points, and coming off of that shutout. So the defenses on both sides playing really good football right now, when at times that's been a question mark for both of these teams. Do the defenses play that way tonight, creating a physical, hard-fought battle, which I think would benefit Chelsea, or do both offenses come out and find something against these defenses that they saw on film this week and put up a lot of points, which I think would benefit Spain Park at the end of the night? Tyler, what are your thoughts on this big one in our game of the week?
Well, I think you put it perfectly, Alec, dating back to last year when these two teams met as, I believe it was undefeated.
Senior number 7, Lamel McNear.
And it was like on a Thursday night game.
At safety, senior number 15, John
and
Lee.
showed who was the boss. I mean, they whooped them last year. And I think Chelsea knows that, and I think they understand what happened last year, and they don't want to give that up. But like Andrew said, my big concern is, can Chelsea's defense contain the outside, because that's what's really hurt them. And against a Clemson commit in Brock Bradley and an Arkansas State commit wide receiver in Kenarigo, that's not good. That is really not good, because Brock, is just going to sling it out, and he's going to find his receivers wherever it fits. And I think Spain Park's defense, while they started slow in some games, they have the ability to stop this run team, if anybody, against this two-headed monster in Chase Malone and Morgan Barnes. I think that's what helps Spain Park to get this win tonight. And I think it's another pretty handily made win for Spain Park, especially on the road there in Chelsea.
And let me ask y'all both this, because I've got a thought on it. If Chelsea were to win this football game, what do you think the biggest difference maker is?
I think the biggest difference is that they were able to contain the edges. If they're able to hold Brock Bradley to about 150 yards for the game, I think they're going to have a great chance to win this.
Tyler?
I think if Chelsea can create turnovers and get Spain Park's offense in a bad mojo, that can kind of be what turns this team around. Because I think what Chelsea really needs is momentum. And if Chelsea can turn the needle in their favor with a couple of good turnovers, that can be what pushes them, and that run game is going to be hard to stop already. So I think if Chelsea gets the turnovers, maybe about 2 or 3 tonight, that's what pushes them to a win.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the other side of the ball, and it's going to be the offensive line. To me, if Chelsea wants any chance, they've got to control time of possession. They've got to run the football successfully, and that boils down to how physical they are up front. Can they create holes, and can they push that physical Spain Park front seven backward? And that's what the biggest question mark I have going into this game. I don't know that they can do that. That's where I think that Spain Park's got the biggest advantage in this game. And also you look at the Chelsea offense it's a little bit more one-dimensional. They just haven't – they're getting better in the passing game, and we've seen that in recent weeks. But it's a team that wants to come out and run the football, and Spain Park knows that. So this offensive line, if you're Chelsea, is going to have to step up and play its best game of the season to have a chance to win this one. And ultimately, if they do that, I think this is going to be a really good football game. But if that offensive line starts to struggle a little bit, especially early in this game, and that momentum gets sucked away from them, they fall behind and they have to throw the football, then it's going to be a long night, similar to the 31-3 game we saw last year for the Hornets. So, to me, offensive line, the biggest key for y'all. I agree defensively, too. Those are big areas that this team's going to have to play well in. But if they can run the football, sustain drives, that keeps Brock Bradley and that offense off the football field for a lot of the night on their home field. So we'll see how this matchup unfolds. But I, too, think Spain Park is able to win this one. Just depends on how comfortably, based on how this Chelsea offensive front plays, in my opinion. So huge game for both these teams. Region seeding implications on the line, both sitting at 2-1. Spain Park wins this one. Most likely, very, very good chance they're going to get that 2 seed in this region and home field advantage there in the first round of the playoffs. Just one of many big games. We've talked about them all. If you missed any of it, go back and watch the show after we sign off here in just a minute. It's been a great one. One of our most watched shows of the season. So thank you all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Make sure you follow along all night with us. Andrew out there at that big Pelham-Helena rivalry battle. Tyler out there at that Thompson game. Thompson wins that one. It's coming down to next week against the Hoover Buccaneers, where they can lock up the region championship. And then this one out here at Chelsea as they welcome the Spain Park Jaguars, our game of the week. I'll have your updates there. All of us on X throughout the night with our live updates. We'll have our stories and photos after the games. We'll have our videos coming throughout the night, and then special video highlighting our game of the week right here after the game tonight as well. Daniel Locke out there covering that Briarwood-John Carroll game. We'll be interested to hear how Pastor Locke has handled himself tonight there between the Lions and the Cavaliers. So it's going to be a fun night. It's a beautiful night. Best night of the season so far. The weather's perfect. Still got about 12 minutes to get to a game if you're not there. So get in the car now and head out. But regardless, enjoy this night. Enjoy another fun night of high school football. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Andrew, Tyler, thank you. Great show tonight. And as always, everybody, enjoy your football Friday night. We'll see you next week.